Hey everyone, so this is my review on Once Upon a Time Season 6, Episode 3 called The Other Shoe. And basically what this episode is about is Ashley is determined to settle some unfinished business with her stepfamily, and Regina goes to hide to try and find out information about the Evil Queen and how to defeat her. And David goes to Gold to try and get information on this coin. And I really enjoyed this episode, and I'm especially happy that this episode finally tied back to the first season with a character that didn't get that much on her. And I especially love it for the fact that it is this sort of side character that I really enjoyed the episode that they were in, which that side character being Cinderella, because they only really brought her up for that one episode. And I'm really happy because that one episode in the first season was like the episode that finally got me into Once Upon a Time and sort of solidifying that this was a television show that I wanted to watch. So I'm happy that they finally sort of brought her back into the story again. And the way that they sort of redid the Cinderella story I found really interesting, with them taking like one of the evil stepsisters and sort of changing them so then they weren't actually evil, and just having like that whole sort of story plot added to the Cinderella story I really enjoyed, and them having like Cinderella actually having a relationship with her family, not sort of having her in like the original story where Cinderella finds the prince and sort of just leaves her whole past life behind. Having her actually sort of make relationships with this family that she grew up with, I think was a brilliant idea. And I really enjoyed that they added that to the story that was originally the Cinderella story. And then I also enjoyed all the connections and ties-ins that they did to try and bring the Cinderella story into this broader story that they're telling, by having the tie-in of the Land of Untold Stories that is in the Cinderella story in this episode. And also tying in Snow White and all her story into it. I really enjoyed how well they managed to organize that and make it all fit and make it kind of reasonable. David and the whole coin sort of story, I wish they would have done a bit more with it in this episode, but I am happy that they at least mentioned it in this episode and not done like I said in the last review, where they bring up this plot and then not talk about it for several episodes. That they at least talked about it in the following episode, which was this one. I'm happy about that, but I wish they would have done a bit more with it. But hopefully with how this episode ended with that plot, they will eventually bring it up and do more with it. So I'm excited to see how they're going to go about doing this and actually solving what actually happened to David's father. And then Rumpelstiltskin and his whole plot to try and find Belle was very interesting with how he eventually did it. And I kind of enjoy it because it was very simple and not like this detailed thing with magic and all that. It was a very simple sort of thing. And I enjoy it so much for that fact. Emma in this whole episode was a little annoying for the fact of her magic not being able to work at certain points where it was needed. Was annoying, and it just didn't really work in my mind because it wasn't really explained why it wasn't working. It just wasn't working because she's kind of not fully herself, I guess, is the best explanation. And then having this sort of saddened Emma that doesn't really want to do anything because she knows if she does something it might end up tying back into this greater plot that eventually she's going to die and she doesn't want to die and blah 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 blah. It just bugs me with how Emma's not really herself, and it's just, I don't like it at all. And I kind of wish that it could change into the fact that she remembers that there's also the sort of timeline that she could possibly change her destiny. But it's a very hard thing to do, but still she could do it. So hopefully in the episodes to come she'll change, but I sincerely doubt it. And then Snow White's whole sort of quest that was brought up in this episode I find really interesting, where she wants to sort of make Storybrooke back into the town it was under the curse, but not having it under the curse, which is kind of hard to explain. That was the best I could do. But like that whole plot I kind of find interesting, and I really kind of want to see it play out. but I also don't think it's going to play out as easily as Snow White wants it to. And I do have to say, overall, I really enjoyed this episode, and I absolutely can't wait to see what the next episode will bring. So, yeah, that's my review of Once Upon a Time Season 6, Episode 3, called The Other Shoe. So, yeah.